Farrell family. Our movie begins with a woman, Isabel, narrating her experiences in a human trafficking network and how she survived. She claims that there are still many women worldwide who are victims of human traffickers. In a flashback, Isabel awakens confined to a bed, her mouth covered, as her kidnapper injects her with something. In the following scene, Isabel returns to her apartment, takes a shower, and then goes to wish her boyfriend a happy anniversary. They make a joke about who will make breakfast, but their daughter Olivia rushes in to interrupt them in the bedroom. She requests breakfast, and Isabel leads Olivia to the dining table, where she finds a surprise breakfast prepared by Mark. After that, Isabel returns to her job as a coach at the gym. She approaches her client, Maria, about coming to class the next day, but Maria says she cannot afford it, so Isabel adds 5 additional lessons to her schedule. A man asks customers for $1 outside a coffee establishment. He enters the establishment and continues to ask for money until he reaches Isabel and repeats himself. He continues to torment Isabel after she informs him she doesn't have any change. Peter, a regular at the cafe, tries to persuade the beggar to go, but he speaks angrily to them and picks up a bit of Isabel's sandwich before departing. Peter strikes up a discussion with Isabel and invites her to come model for his agency. Isabel declines, but he gives her his business card in case she changes her mind later. Mark persuades her to take the modeling job in the following scene. To be safe, he even asks her to accompany her friend. Isabel goes to the modeling agency and dials Peter's number. She becomes skeptical of the building and changes her mind. Peter, on the other hand, persuades her that she will be safe. He also informs her that the photo shoot is for a cruise line, which explains why they are paying so much money. Isabel pauses for a while before following him into the building. They take the elevator to the studio, where Isabel meets Chloe, Peter's assistant, to start and finish the shooting on time. When they're finished, Peter thanks Isabel for coming. Isabel returns to work and receives a phone call from Chloe congratulating her on her new job. Back home, Mark returns from work, and she tells him the wonderful news. She informs him that she would be gone for the entire day and that her mother will have to come and babysit. She kisses her daughter farewell before leaving the next morning. Before coming to the studio, Isabel visits a boutique and purchases a dress. When she arrived at the studio, Isabel observes the building's emptiness. She questions Peter about this, but he ignores her and closes the studio door. He proceeds to sit down after taking a picture of her. When Isabel asks what's going on, he pulls out a knife. She informs him that her boyfriend would be visiting her, and Peter expresses his excitement to meet him. He asks if she has ever been stabbed and then describes the sensation. He warns her that being stabbed could result in nerve damage and amputation. Isabel sobs, and he informs her that if she screams, he would badly injure her. She pulls out her phone and tries to make a call discreetly, but he hears it vibrate. Isabel informs him that she needs to go to the restroom, and he agrees but instructs her to leave her phone at home. She dashes to the restroom and starts going through her belongings. Peter enters and requests that she change into new attire. He slaps her because she refuses. He then informs her he will give her pain medication and makeup to disguise the bruising on her neck. In the following scene, Isabel has changed into the outfit Peter has given her and has joined him in the living room. He tells her to remove her robe so he may photograph her and threatens to hurt her if she doesn't. He offers her a glass of milk, which she accepts. After that, he starts photographing her while drinking milk, and Isabel's response to the drink causes her to pass out. She awakens to discover that she is being assaulted by a stranger while Peter records it. After the man is finished, he pays Peter and departs. Peter instructs her to go clean herself up in the bathroom and that this is now her home and she should get used to it. She looks for a way out, but she can't find one. Peter informs her that there is no way out and that no one can hear her cries for help. He informs her that the man who violated her will return in a few days. Isabel informs him she won't be cleaning herself up because she wants the cops to find her the same way she has when she arrives. Peter assures her that the cops will never come to her aid because she has no idea where she is. Isabel takes a bath and returns to her room in the following scene. There she discovers Peter, who has brought her some food. She begged him to allow her to go home to her daughter, but he assured her that he would contact her babysitter to ensure her daughter's well-being. Peter urges her not to make any noise while he calls, but as soon as he calls, Isabel starts screaming for rescue. Peter informs her that he has not yet made the decision. He punches her in the throat and then phones her babysitter to let her know Isabel would be working late. Isabel asks him why he is doing this to her, and he says it's all for money. She offers to bring him the money he requires, but he declines. Isabel continues to be taunted by many guys and tells Peter she is pregnant. She informs him that her boyfriend has dropped her and would be looking for her. If her boyfriend had arrived, Peter says he would have let her leave. After he has left, another customer arrives and takes his way with her. Peter buys her a pregnancy test kit and forces her to take it. She does so once Peter confirms her pregnancy. He promises to take good care of her and provide her with whatever she requires. Isabel becomes angry and destroys her room. While doing so, she discovers a metal object in the suit lining. In the following scenario, Isabel appears to be asleep as Peter approaches to check on her. She causes him pain with a sharp object. She flees the room and attempts to shout for help from the building's rooftop. However, no one hears her. Peter chases her down the stairs, banging on the doors of other flats. She enters an apartment where a young girl was standing and shuts the door. She tries to summon assistance, but no one responds. Peter tries unsuccessfully to force the door open until the small girl, who turns out to be Peter's daughter, opens the door. Isabel pushes him off, but he knocks her out and drags her back into the room. Isabel awakens in a soundproof wardrobe, bound up and with tape on her mouth. Mark arrives at Peter's flat to search for her. He informs him that his girlfriend had a photo shoot with a man named Peter but has yet to return home. Peter informs him that he is unfamiliar with his girlfriend and that his name is Patrick, not Peter. Mark becomes suspicious after hearing a loud noise coming from Peter's flat and barges his way in. He leaves after discovering that the noise was made by Peter's daughter. Peter informs Isabel that he is the building manager and that he knows everything about the structure. As a result, she has nowhere to go. He removes the duct tape from her mouth and drags her out of the closet. Following that, Peter feeds Isabel breakfast and tells her about his daughter. Isabel is terrified to consume the meal, but he proves to her that it is not poisoned by biting into it. Peter introduces himself as Patrick and informs her that the people for whom he works know everything about her. A new client arrives to take advantage of Isabel and injure her in the process, just in case she attempts to cause trouble after he releases her. Isabel has a hallucination about visiting her daughter, but she awakens in her room. She then goes to the restroom and attempts to injure herself, but Peter enters the toilet just in time to save her. He warns her not to harm herself because of Olivia and the pregnancy she is carrying. Isabel cries and tells him she can't go back home this way, but he encourages her to be brave. He returns her to her bed and then brings her a cat that his daughter discovered. He assures her she can have the cat and care for it. Isabel inquires about Chloe, and he informs her that she was simply a girl he recruited through the internet. Isabel questions why he didn't take Chloe instead, and he explains that she was more marketable. The next day, Peter arrives to get her ready for a new customer, but Isabel informs him that she is ill and needs medical help. He assures her that this will be her last client and that he will let her go home after that. Isabel informs him that she has seen his photo collections of girls he has photographed in the past. He informs her that the majority of them went home because they were good. Isabel is preparing for the customer. As Peter welcomes him, Isabel, dressed in unusual makeup and starts speaking brutally to the client while kissing his body, strikes the man with a sharp weapon, and he knocks her out. The customer calls Peter and threatens him with a revolver. He informs him that if he does not pay him double in the next week, he will take his daughter. Peter attempts to clean her up, but she regains consciousness and informs him that she knows he would never let her go. She tells him she'd rather hurt herself than continue working for him. Peter knocks her out when he hears this. Isabel awakens with her hands chained to the bed and a man looming over her. The man tries to inject her with an unknown chemical, but he receives a call telling him to stop. He informs her that Peter will deliver the injection and bids her farewell in order to free her from her restraints. Isabel shatters her thumb. She picks up the injection, but when Peter walks in, she pretends to be still bound to the bed. Peter tells her that she could have been in Europe right now, but her body would have been discovered in a dumpster. He tells her she was stupid for falling for his lie. He then stands up and turns his back to her, looking for the injection. Isabel attempts to inject him, but he prevents her. He hits her. Isabel, on the other hand, fights back and knocks him out. She dashes out of the building, climbs down the stairs with the ladder, and begins to run. Fortunately, she stumbles across a police car and, in tears, reports the incident to the cops. A police team returns to the premises in search of Peter, but they are unsuccessful. Then Isabel reunited with her daughter and boyfriend. This is how our movie ends. Leave us a comment on how you found this movie. See you in the next video.